This is the Nissan 370Z, the awesome sports car that gives you amazing bang for buck and superb reliability as well. But hang on a minute there are a few things to check. So make sure you cover all the points in this video carefully if you're looking for a used example. So although the cars are super reliable, guys, one thing you want to check is the paint work. They are notorious for having quite thin paint, and naturally the front takes a pounding. So as you might be able to see here, one or two little stone chips on there. And again, not the end of the world, but great negotiation tools for you to bring up with the seller and hopefully save a little bit of money. We also have the owner of the car here, Fraz himself from Ultimate Car Enthusiast. Make sure you give them a follow on YouTube. Link is in the description. And Fraz is going to take us through one or two tips on the car as well.
This is a high-powered rear-wheel drive car. It's probably worth checking out that it's not had any wee bumps. I've owned this, what, 3 years now? And, you know, there's been a few close calls. So it's worth checking the panel gaps, having a wee look underneath, seeing there's no damage there, and just have a general look around at the body and make sure there's nothing going on there.
Thanks to Fraz for covering those details for us. So yeah, absolutely great advice there, guys. Make sure all the panels match in colour and those panel gaps are as we would expect. Brilliant advice. Now, as we go into this next check, if you're enjoying this content and you want to see more used buyer guides of performance cars and reviews of cars just like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you're alerted when we make a new upload. Let's get on to the next check. Next up, guys, unfortunately, corrosion is becoming a little bit of an issue on these cars. Two areas in particular that you need to check, and that is the sills. Now, on a car like this, it might be lowered, so again, don't be shy, get a jack under there, raise it a little bit, and get in and get a good look at both sills. Also, the rear arches can be a common place for rust to accumulate. So again, make sure you check it over. So here's a check you definitely want to be doing, guys. Go ahead and open up the rear boot lid. And what we're doing here is making sure that the struts haven't worn out and are still able to hold the weight of it. This can be particularly the case if there is a larger aftermarket wing on there. As you'd expect, it's heavier, it's going to wear the struts out faster.
Another top tip I've got for you is have a look at your alloy wheels. Is there any bubbling? Some of the older wheels are particularly known to bubble underneath the paint. So that's another cost you might have to factor in that you may need an alloy wheel refurb. Another issue you could look at is the tyres. Has the owner put good tyres on it? Have they put budget tyres on it? If they're running budgets, that maybe starts to make you think, have they cheaped out elsewhere in the car? Especially in a car like this, you're going to want to put good tyres, especially on the rear, because you need that grip to put down that power.
Great advice there once again from Fraz. Following on from that, what I would add is while you're down here, get in and have a look at the brakes. Check the discs, check the pads, and again, we're looking to make sure it's got plenty of life left in it. You don't want to be buying a car then having to fork out right away out of your pocket. Now, if they are worn, again, not the end of the world, but definitely something you need to bring up with the seller and factor into that sale cost. Now, the other thing you can check is if they do have plenty of life left in them, what brand are they? Does the seller have a receipt to prove to you that he's put a good reputable brand of brakes on there? Because as Fraz explains, if he's cheaped out on the brakes or the tyres, what else is he or she cheaped out on? So whilst we're at the rear here, guys, make sure you get under and have a look at this diff as well. And again, we're looking for any sort of oil seepage, any dripping, anything like that coming from it. Whilst you're under here, also give the exhaust a quick check, particularly if it's the standard one. The standard ones are notorious for cracking along the welds and starting to leak. Thankfully, aftermarket systems are plentiful, not too expensive, and there's a wide range so you can pick one that is the correct volume and sound for you. So next up, guys, let's get under the bonnet, and for this, I'm going to pass over to someone who's a lot more knowledgeable on this than me, and that is Junior from JR Customs. Link to his Facebook page is in the description below, and he's going to take us through what can go wrong at the engine end of the 370Z.
Hello. Right, basically, we have a lovely little 370 here, Frazzie's, well known, well looked after, a good owner all round. Pretty much these are known for ticking noise when they're running. This is especially common at cold, and it is very much a case of it's a common sound. It's not actually a fault. Really all it is the fuel injectors, they do get rather loud and they're kind of tapping sound, so it does kind of sound like what people commonly call a lifter tick, when really it is just the fuel injectors. No worry there. But the only other thing you get with 370s, very common in the engine, is pre-2012, you'll find that the gallery gaskets are really prone to wear out. This can be quite a catastrophic failure. So obviously, pre-2012, make sure that you check for leaks, you check for noise. Noise is a definitely giveaway on them. But apart from that, pretty solid engine, you can't really go wrong at all.
So thank you to Junior for taking us through the engine compartment. Hopefully that's really helpful for some of you guys. Again, helps you get a little bit of money off. And next, final check before we jump on into that interior here, guys. So suspension wise, doesn't really tend to be any big problems here. I'd be surprised if you found any leaking shocks or anything like that. Something that can occur if the drop links can snap. So again, just having a look under here, generally speaking, at the suspension assembly, have a look at the drop links, make sure everything's okay. All right guys, and we move on into the interior now. And first check, I always say with every car, have a look at the seats, have a look at the steering wheel, have a look at the door cards, make sure that the wear and tear that's occurred on them matches the mileage that the car has supposedly done. Of course, you can use the MOT histories to verify mileage, but nothing comes close to looking at physical condition. Next up, guys, how about all the stuff that the MOT doesn't cover? Electric windows, air conditioning, sound system. We want to make sure all of this is in good working order. And on that note, if the 370Z you're looking at has the upgraded Bose stereo system, you might want to make sure that the CD player works. It's a little bit 10 years ago, but if you do tend to play CDs, the Bose sound system is notorious for them skipping. So test that if it's important to you. So now guys, time to take it on the test drive. The moment you've been waiting on, I'm sure. Now, clutch life seems to be a contested topic in these cars. Some owners report only getting around about 40,000 miles out of it before requiring a new clutch. Others report double that, sometimes over 100,000. So we want to be sure that we thoroughly check it. And again, best way to do that, guys, get into third, fourth gear, maybe 4,000 RPM and floor that throttle. If you do it on a hill, even better. We want that slight incline to really tax that clutch and flywheel. What should happen there is the revs should rise proportionally to the vehicle's speed. So the car shouldn't have the RPMs go shooting up and not get any faster. Certainly if that's happening, that signifies that the clutch is probably near the end of its life and is needing changed pretty imminently. And again, if that comes out your pocket, not a great thing to be happening. Now, one thing you may notice, guys, is second gear is a little bit notchy when cold. This isn't necessarily a problem, more a quirk of the 370Z. Once the car heats up, however, that gearbox should feel like a rifle bolt. Slick, fast, and not notchy whatsoever. Now again, on test drives, bumpy roads are your friend. It gives us a chance to get a good listen into all those suspension components. And again, as I've said before, it's very difficult to hide worn suspension components over bumpy roads or speed bumps. So we don't need to go careering over them, just a steady pace and listen out for any worn components. Could be those drop links that we spoke about a bit earlier. Now, just before you finish up that test drive, guys, get yourself off of those fast A roads and try and do some slow speed maneuvering as well. What we're listening for here is a clicking coming from the rear. Now, if you're getting that, that can indicate a drive shaft problem, which obviously we want to pick up on before you've handed your cash over. Finally, guys, this is important. Make sure you enjoy the process of shopping for your 370Z. It's an exciting car, and despite these small problems we've covered today, it's really, really reliable. Now, if you're looking at a car or you own one of these and you have a problem that you're not too sure about, go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section below and we can get back to you. We're here to help. But for now, guys, good luck with finding your perfect Nissan 370Z.